Hello, we are again at the Through the Ages World Championship semifinals. This is my fifth game, the last of the three-player games, and here you see the standings before this game and also before the remaining three-player game between Saru, Wanderlust and Lcfyx, which by the end of this video will also be completed. It ended pretty much at the same time as the game you're about to see. So after this we will have the full standings after the 4 and 3 player games with just the duels to go. Very exciting. And right now I'm in the lead. I managed to win the 3-player game that you saw last time by 1 point. Well, I didn't win it, I was second place after Wanderlust, but I beat Saru by 1 point, and that gave me a 2-point lead over him, and I also won the 3-player game against Wanderlust and Lcfyx, so that makes a 7-point lead, but he could catch up if he wins also the 3-player game against Wanderlust and Lcfyx, which I don't know at this point, but we'll see by the end of this video. So yeah, another important game, and most important here is to finish ahead of Saru, of course, but if possible, winning the game would still be the objective, of course. Alright, let's get to the game. As usual, there are leaders and wonders. If you want to have a good long look at them, pause the video, but I won't do that. Lcfyx is in first position, he takes the pyramids, kind of the classic pyramids versus library option here. But I generally like pyramids more as well. There are lots of strong leaders on the row, so getting a leader won't be a problem for him. So a very nice starting position, I think. Then for me, I'll take the library and Clio. So yeah, I could take Hammurabi, but then I give Wonder plus Leader plus Yellow card to Saru, and that's not really nice, and just getting 2 cards is good. But I go for Clio, which is interesting, I think, because I don't think Clio is a very strong leader. I think she's on the weaker end. But combined with Library, I actually prefer her to Aristotle. At least, yeah, I'm picking her here, so I kind of have to say this now. But yeah, the first step of the library costs 1 rock, which just works really nicely with Clio. You can go elect, mine, pop, build step, and then the next turn you're just right for the next step again. So it's just a really nice combination, I think. So it gives a little bit more tempo than Aristotle, which is a bit slower to get benefits from. So I think this is a good combination to have. And then Saru will probably just go Urban Growth and Ham. Yeah, so makes sense, I think. Just getting Ham and a yellow card is nice. Right, back to Lcfyx. He'll pick Boudica, also makes sense. Aristotle works nicely with pyramids, but I think Boudica is just a little stronger overall, especially with no strength leaders or wonders on the opposition. Well, Saru could still have Colossus maybe, or Acropolis. So maybe there will be a little bit of downside to the Boudica pick actually. But Boudica is a strong leader. Then the EG will fall for me, which kind of disrupts in a sense the nice turn in that I won't pop, but just do the rest. But it's also very nice because it guarantees that I can finish the library next turn. Saruno, yeah, has the urban growth, so goes for philosophy first. And then he has 2 civil actions left and takes the EG1. But no wonder, so he could go Acropolis or Colossus. There is Suez in the game, there is Cook even, so Colossus definitely viable, and I actually thought Saru liked Acropolis a lot, so I actually kind of expect him maybe to pick it here. He could also take Roman roads for 2, could also take the breakthrough even. So lots of options, but he chose the engineering genius. There's no universitas in the game, so that makes this pick, I think, even more interesting. Yeah, you could use it on one of these wonders, but I don't know if these are the greatest set of starting wonders. There's no Universitas, no Silk Road, so for a first wonder, they're maybe not ideal. Forbidden City is nice. Machu Picchu in 3-player, you usually can get value out of it, but it's an interesting pick for sure. So yeah, 3 wonders available basically, but he doesn't pick any of them. And personally, I like Roman roads also a lot with Hammurabi, but yeah, Saru always has interesting choices, so he shows this again here. Lcfyx goes for printing press for 2 and a breakthrough. Also kind of interesting. So with Boudica, he took the science. Yeah, printing press for 2. Of course, in first seat are not great options, perhaps. There is Gaudi, there is Shakespeare, but there's no Darwin. So, yeah, interesting. Generally will not do this, I think, but you could just build a philosophy, maybe take frugality A or something. Then it's my turn. I can finish the library, as I said. Then I have 2 actions left. I could just, for example, pop and take urban growth, perhaps. But I actually have a very interesting idea here. I can take one of those wonders. I can go double HA wonder. I think you should not do this. I've it often goes kind of bad, double HA wonder. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. So I like Roman roads a lot actually. I think it's a very good, nice wonder. There aren't the strongest H1 wonders, no Universitas, no Silk Road. And yeah, I have Clio, so it's kind of nice to have another project, and I'm kind of talking myself into taking the Roman roads now. But also there's a Colossus, which is only 2-step wonder, so maybe it's not as bad to take as a second HA wonder to take the Colossus. And yeah, as I said, there is Suez, there is James Cook, so the Colossus is fine here, and it works nicely in that I can use my Clio, but don't have to put too many actions into it. But then I'm picking Colossus over Roman roads, and I just like Roman roads a lot, so I kind of couldn't get myself to pick the Colossus over it, and I took the Roman roads. I'm not sure if this is correct, if that wasn't clear. Yeah, but I like Roman roads, and here we go. It's only the World Championship, it's only the semi-final. Let's do some experimenting with double HA wonder and take a 4-step wonder. Why not, right? But the nice thing is I can, like, if I have nothing to do next turn, I can just finish it. I can build the whole thing. And an early Roman roads is just such a pleasure to have. So yeah, let's try it. Saru takes the monarchy for 2. That's a sensible thing to do with Hammurabi. There is Machu Picchu available now. So, and he has the engineering geniuses. So let's see if he goes for it now. No, he doesn't. So there is the first copy of Iron, which he almost certainly wouldn't get, especially if he picks the Machu Picchu, of course. I guess Lcfyx can just go build a pyramid, take Iron perhaps. And then the Iron is even in the worst position for Saru, because I can deny the second copy. So yeah, the Machu Picchu is kind of awkward in this situation, I guess. So he doesn't go for it, and yeah, so maybe Forbidden City will be his first wonder. Yeah, or St. Pete's or Great Wall, who knows. But yeah, having the early monarchy with Hammurabi is nice for sure. Masonry for Lcfyx develops it. Always nice if you can do it before finishing your HA wonder. And then he just takes bread and circuses, reveals a fighting band. So no iron pick here, because he went for the masonry line basically. which means the iron will fall to me because he picked the bread and circuses. There is Pierre in the game, so it makes sense to want this card. But that gives me the iron for 1, so I'm happy. I don't see any of these. Yeah, I think Saru will go for the monarchy, so I don't know if I will be spending my science or waiting for an H2 government, so Dark Ages would be awkward. Reign of Terror, not great. Boudica has, and yeah, he also has a fighting band and the bread and circus, but that's all reasons why he might be stronger. Could hope to make Saru lose it, but yeah, and don't really want to see the red seal. Maybe that's also just depends on my turn. So I increase population, build the lab, then build 1 stage of the Roman roads and take the iron. So I'm only just getting out of corruption, so that's another reason not to see it, of course. So I could build the full Roman roads, but let's see, I spent 5 blue cubes now, so this would also have gotten me out of corruption by spending 4 and getting 1 extra. But I just want the iron here, it's available for 1, so don't take Zitska, Zitska will be discarded, so that's kind of interesting. Nobody going for Zitska here, but yeah, I have to get out of corruption, and that requires all 3 of these actions, and I just want the iron. A lot of red cards on the row. Also the Code of Laws will be available for 1 civil action here, which will be nice along with the monarchy, but yeah, just too much to do because I took a second age. I wonder. Discard Reign of Terror, draw 2 colonies. Saru does the revolution, takes the Code of Laws. Yeah. So doesn't take a red card either, so it's getting a little bit dangerous perhaps for both of us. If Lcfyx would now do a strength push. Yeah, there's only 1 red card left for the 2 of us. Let's see what Lcfyx does with that. There's also Barbarossa, and he has a lot of food saved up, so could be interesting. Fear Religion comes out, which is not great for him, as he has the bread and circuses. It's only the first HA card revealed actually, and it takes a swordsman, meaning yeah, the other knights here will be discarded. Takes reserves, doesn't take Frato. Not sure. Maybe just wants Columbus, I don't know. Or Eleanor, yeah, 2 nice transitional leaders, because you can keep Boudica for a long time. I'll take Fred, elect Fred, finish the Roman roads using Cleo's resource, and then get 1 activation out of Fred. I think very clean turn. Thanks to the extra yellow token, I can do the Fred activation without going to consumption and without having an unhappy worker yet. So very nice. I didn't see it because yeah, I only just get out of corruption, so don't really want that. And yeah, I think territories could be nice for me here with Fred, but let's see where the cartography ends up first. And I got my wonder finished at least, so yeah, worked out alright. I didn't get stuck with this forever, so there are some nice cards here for Fred, irrigation and bread and circuses, but yeah, can't take them because I have my wonder to finish. And I'll keep the territories, even draw another colonization card, so that's cool. Open borders between Saru and Lcfyx, not nice. Alchemy is taken. And 2 upgrades, yeah. And then he has 2 more civil actions and takes the last red card, knights here. So I will be stuck on these warriors. There's no more upgrades, but at least nobody's building anything scary yet. And I have Fred, so I can at least build my warriors efficiently, I guess. But not ideal not having any military tech. Second time seeds, again Lcfyx, so deck is going slowly. Warfare, I can't use that. Lcfyx also can't use it, and saru also can't use it, so who cares? The resources from Boudica are activated because I built the warrior last turn. Lcfyx goes for Isabella. The cartography will not be taken, will be dropping off. Interestingly keeps Boudica for now, yeah, but I think it makes sense. If you don't need the blue cubes to get out of corruption, there's not going to be territories revealed yet. So we can just get some signs from Boudica perhaps, or in case somebody gets stronger, getting 2 resources is also nice. Went for the swordsman and yeah, took irrigation and breakthrough. So he's maybe a little bit going for strength now, but doesn't look too dangerous yet. It's only when he has like 2 fighting bands that he really gets dangerous. I see the wealthy and development of politics. Draw some more cards. Yeah, with Fred, nobody took the cartography. There is Isabella, but Fred is probably even more efficient at colonizing. And then I got another activation out of him, went for an iron upgrade, and I'm taking the warfare because, yeah, with Fred I want the 3rd military action. They already have one thanks to the open borders, but I want to spend 5 sites for it. But yeah, I think this is just, I had to pop, I guess, yeah, just to have this one worker here, but I get to use some of my extra food that I have thanks to going into consumption really late, and Fred will be doing some nice things, I suppose. I keep the vast territory, I could have seeded new deposits perhaps next turn as well, but as I said, Fred is a good colonizer, so I will try to win some colonies. If you can get fast with Fred, it's just super nice because he rebuilds so efficiently. I draw the foray, which is also interesting. Saru now develops a knight, goes for 1. Also needs to build some strength, takes the iron for 2, and takes the Forbidden City. So finally he has a wonder. Yeah, the strongest first wonder available, I guess. But he had to wait for it quite a long time. Doesn't have a leader yet, by the way, so Hammurabi will just perish now. Level up the settlement, and now we are into the next deck. So I seeded Wealthy, Lcfyx seeded 3, I think, and Saru 1, if I'm not mistaken. Second printing press and irrigation upgrades for Lcfyx. So yeah, this goes together quite nicely, I suppose, especially with the masonry. Having it 2 printing presses now and getting some pop income. So that will be fine, and then he probably builds a Brennan Circuses to get some more happy faces, and is very well set up for Cody, I suppose. And yeah, Shakespeare is also definitely an option. And yeah, he's also got this for Pierre, of course, so in general, pretty clean setup. Has the 4th rock thanks to Isabella, because he's the one missing out on iron, so that's also quite nice. It's my turn, let's see if I see it. And it's H2, and I see the foray. And yeah, Rebellion comes out, which is a bit sad, but also maybe not the worst, because I don't have any happy face solution at all. So getting this out of the way is actually probably good for me. Probably be worse if it came later. Because yeah, as you see, I do another threat activation and population, so I copy the fighting bands and then do another iron upgrade. So the rebellion would be worse after this turn. And thanks to Fred, I just get to do things anyway. Yeah, only used one threat activation actually, but still. And I developed the warfare to get that threat activation plus tactic copy going. I know I'm the strongest, so that's nice. And I can do another threat activation next turn, but then the worker would be unhappy. But if the wealthy would come out before then, or perhaps another colony or whatever, then I could do this and it could be nice. So let's see if I can win the colony by next turn, perhaps. There's actually another colony that developed, and I do win it. I'm sending 2 warriors plus my cards, so it's not too cheap, but yeah, just with Fred, everything is cheap. So, and there is Suez in the game, so it's nice to take the first colony. Saru has the medieval armies, so now I'm actually the weakest for next turn. Takes Columbus now, and got some work done on the Forbidden City. And yeah, I'm weakest for 1 turn, and I do get hit, so that's unfortunate. And Lcfyx gets the constitutional monarchies. Yeah, I can just destroy this perhaps and maybe rebuild as a big mine, we'll see. So Lcfyx took this Conmon, which I wasn't happy about because I also wanted to have it. I'm almost at the required science for it. Lcfyx doesn't have as much science, so perhaps a revolution will be necessary for him, or the best way to go for this. But I remember I was hoping he wouldn't do this. There were some other options, but he did. And then I probably don't see it because I'm the weakest now. Actually, one of them is wealthy, so perhaps, never mind. So I destroyed the mine, as I said, and then built a big mine. Take the cannon for 2, and build another warrior with Barbarossa. Yeah, think, and then just pick up the urban road. Think not too much to see. Sadly, very early ocean liner, which I couldn't even take. I don't have 5 civil actions, and I have 2 wonders. Yeah, so that is perhaps not great, not being able to pick an ocean liner when it appears. Yeah, but it is what it is. Oh, I have a nice draw here. I just got that early cannons and I drew fortifications, so that's a very, very fortunate draw. Also popularization of science, which is playable, I suppose. So now, thanks to my HA wonders, I actually have science income, so let's not badmouth my play too much. Saru Seeds, Strategic is now revealed. It's another colony idea, so the wealthy is the last card. And I didn't know about this one either. I bid 2 warriors, an army, because strategic is nice, but Lcfyx, of course, can win it with Isabella. It doesn't have any cards apparently, or prefers perhaps to spend a rock, but I think with this drawing cards probably doesn't have any colonize thing. So it spends 1 rock. Saru goes for architecture, which is, yeah, which he can use to finish the Forbidden City and then take the ocean liner. So very nice, but at least he doesn't have his iron going yet. Also the Code of Law still in hand, so this architecture is a bit costly in that sense. He could have gone Code of Laws, for example, instead. Yeah, and without the iron, ocean liner will at least take a little bit until he can finish it probably, but it will still be very strong, of course. Didn't use Columbus yet, but yeah, perhaps waits until he has another leader available. And another pact between my opponents, another very strong pact. So this is, yeah, a bit going not great now, I guess. Revolution, as I said, Lcfyx probably needed a revolution to get this government, so makes sense. Justice system is here for me, no government on the road, so I just want that 5th action now. And the breeding, yeah, is nice to have with Barbarossa. I can now get some more activations out of him probably. And this leaves me with 6 science after my turn, so I can start going for cannons, so that's nice. Can start getting some cannons. I still have a happy worker here, which will become unhappy once I start activating threat again. Sadly, I can't take the Suez. It's again on more civil actions than I have. So I'm hoping Lcfyx won't take it then. Saru has the ocean liner still. But Lcfyx also has 1 colony already and drew extra cards with it even. So chances are perhaps greater that he has another colony, and then he almost certainly will take the Suez. This cannon will stay on 2. Let's see if Saru goes for it. Because I draw a war, that's interesting, and a great territory in case Suez is available. Wealthy is now revealed, but I can't win it. I bid an army again, but Saru wins it actually for 6, which is perhaps better than Lcfyx winning it in this case, because Lcfyx might go for Suez. It's actually, I don't know if it's better, because Lcfyx might go for Suez anyway, and getting this wealthy is great for Saru, who can now finish the ocean liner already. That's actually not so nice. Also gets an iron upgrade going, gets a breakthrough and urban growth, so good turn for him. But he is the weakest at least. Let's see, scientific breakthrough. And then Lcfyx goes for Suez, which was kind of expected, but still a bit unfortunate. Are not happy to see it. And he even has the autonomous territory, so that's very strong now. Does have the downside of losing some blues, but yeah, takes 5 rocks with it. And builds another swordsman, becomes the strongest, and takes that cannon. So Saru did pick the cannon. So he might be a bit vulnerable in that sense if I can now push that fortifications tactic I have. I see the vast one. Cult Worms is revealed, and I lose 1 civil action, draw the wealthy. Why did I see the vast? I guess it's still nice to win this with Fred. I actually bid last time 1 warrior in the card, I guess, because I have a defense card now. I'm not sure. There is a foray in there, that's why I pushed, of course, yeah. And I guess these, yeah, it was either territory or popularization of science, which could be okay, but I think I'm not that likely to go for science upgrade soon now. I'm going for the cannons, as you see. Yeah, I'm not sure. I could have pushed popularization, I guess, but yeah. So I developed a cannon. I do go for a scientific method. But yeah. And I can get 2 Barbarossa activations actually, and probably reveal the tactic, yeah. So that's, I guess, my response to things not going that great at the moment, I think. I have some fairly efficient things going on, that's not a problem, but between these 2 pacts, Ocean Liner and Suez, I felt that things are not going that great, but one thing I do have that is nice is this fortification tactic, and I can have 2 Barbarossa activations now, which is very efficient. So yeah, let's push the strength a little bit and see if something happens, because I do have this war. So let's try to make something happen, I think. I discarded something, duels, I guess. Yeah, but Saru gets the strategy for one, couldn't really avoid, and then goes for Hussar's tactic. Takes the Rev ID, the HE, and yeah, has plenty of population now with that ocean liner, of course, even has some food left over. And yeah, with the strategy, open borders, both and Conmon here, both my opponents have lots of military actions, so an aggression won't be easy, I suppose. But yeah, maybe I can do a war at some point. But I guess, yeah, I'll need a second fortifications tactic for that, and I'm still quite a bit away from that. But at least my strength push forced him to also build some military now, instead of, for example, upgrading the eye. So there's, at least I'm pushing a little bit on what I have to do. Lcfyx goes for Gaudi, gets the team sports, yeah, which I also wasn't happy about, because I was kind of hoping to get it for myself. I also need a happiness solution. Lcfyx already had the bread and circus in hand, so he could have gone for that, but he took a team sports for 2. Of course, it's the more efficient card, but still, it didn't really need it now. So I was kind of hoping I would get that. So maybe it's also a bit of a hate draft, I don't know. But in either case, he now has a very nice Gaudi going on. Yeah, but for example, he could have taken Frugality, and maybe he already has rifles, but if he didn't have to take the team sports. So yeah, but as I said, perhaps it's also a bit of a hate draft. Either way, I was not too thrilled about that, because the organized religion here is falling off. And it's actually the second copy already, so yeah, I think it was part hate draft, perhaps, as I really don't have a happiness solution now. At least I'm now very happy that Rebellion came out early, because it's gonna, yeah, I'm not gonna get out of this happiness crisis anytime soon. There is Robespierre on the board now. Let's see, there are still both copies of Republic. So at this point, I'm really thinking about going Robespierre. There is Theresa and Cook, but yeah, it's late in the age. So as a transitional leader, Robespierre could be very nice here. I see popularization of science now, and actually win the Crusades, which I didn't know about. So that's a nice event. And then I can go for scientific methods upgrade, one breeding upgrade as well. I had some cards in hand to do this, and with this I can actually go for 2 cannons next turn, exactly, with the Barbarossa activations. And I have a war, but I don't have a 4th military action. And also, if I do 2 activations, I have a happiness crisis, so I kind of would have to delete a warrior now if I went for this plan. But yeah, without the 4, I can, yeah, I can take Max in hand, which I will, but I can't use, I have to do the military actions for the war up front, of course, and then I have to do the threat activations, so I can't use this for military action for the war, unfortunately, because I need to do it with threat. So there's no option really to go for the war here. So I won't delete a warrior to anticipate it, even though yeah, the age will be ending kind of soon as well. So then I will perhaps need to delete a warrior at some point. And it's all kind of interesting here, because there's so much I want to do with my military actions at this point. have this Robespierre, and both republics unfortunately are still in the deck. So otherwise I could perhaps have done a revolution this turn. But yeah, this will require more military actions, of course. Fred wants to use them, and there is this war. So yeah, there's some interesting things that I'm considering to do with my military actions at this point. I'm not electing Max yet because I think the age won't end. Because yeah, it's kind of a little bit risky perhaps. Because also I'm not sure if I will even use Fred again. It's very likely that by my next turn at least, Republic will be available, and then I obviously can't activate Fred anyway. So it would be a consideration to elect Max already, but I'm thinking the age won't end, and there are some scenarios where I still want to activate Fred. Perhaps there's no Republic available even, although it's very unlikely. Or yeah, some events could happen. I could win a colony perhaps. I think the Vast is in the next deck, but I don't know what this event is. But did we get the foray yet? I don't think we get the foray yet, so perhaps yeah, there's the foray. Thank you. So I will be part of the fray along with Saru, who now gets the iron upgrades going. Develops, what strategy was that? No, the Code of Laws, yeah. And then goes for Cook. Yeah, has to switch the leader, of course, and Cook gives him 3 culture. I was kind of happy. I was happy that Maria Theresa didn't show up yet. I think he would have preferred Maria over James Cook. Lots of yellow cards in the hand too. Arms Industry comes out, 2 rocks for everybody. And the calls were late, very late even. So he has to grab a call for 3 even at this point, and takes the Calvary Man. Of course, he already had rock income with the Suez, so wasn't too short on them, but still would have been nice for him if the call was perhaps a bit earlier. And he built an extra printing press, so he's now producing quite a bit of culture. I'll go to the overview perhaps after this turn. I seeded something, I kind of missed it. Inhabited comes out, another colony I didn't know about, and Lcfyx wins it and has a lot of cards unfortunately, so gets it pretty cheap. I bid 7 for this, so I think I just bid all 3 warriors. No, I bid a cannon, 2 warriors and a card, something like that. Interesting. I go for max now, so I want 2 Barbarossa activations. There were still 3 cards left, so it wasn't too close for the end of the age. I can go for this architecture now, which lets me get the cheaper scientific method upgrades, and then I'll take the wave and efficient upgrades. Yeah, I guess there wasn't really a nice way to go for Barbarossa activation. I considered it, but in the end, having this republic now is just more civil actions. And otherwise I'd have to do it in h3 and miss h3 draws anyway, so that's also not great. So yeah, a bit unfortunate because I could do 2 threat activations, which is also quite a bit of value, but yeah, in the end, max value was more important here. And yeah, I get the science going, so overall I think I have a nice position now. I have a good tactic and everything kind of upgrades. I take this efficient upgrade. I'm ready for an early oil. I think that's the only real use case I have for it at this point. Perhaps if I go for an early computers, yeah, it could be happening too. There are a lot of science leaders. There is spaceflight, Manhattan Internet even, so yeah, science could definitely be So early computers could also be a viable option here. And then the efficient upgrade will also work for that. I suppose, yeah, I could have popped or something. But the problem I have, of course, 2 yellow tokens will disappear here. I can actually pop twice with the frugality, but then I will have 4 unhappy workers. I could, so a bit scary, and civil unrest could completely destroy me at this point. So yeah. And then it's Saru's turn, and after that we'll get to the overview ahead of H3. Scientific cooperation was offered. I was at first very unhappy to see that because yeah, the open borders just ended. They have the international trade, and then but luckily it's rejected. So I actually thought when I looked at this that he would accept it. Saru has 6+4, has a Rev ID in hand, so basically 10+4, and Lcfyx also has 10+4. Plus he has these nice H2 cheap techs in hand, and has Gaudi, which perhaps won't develop that much anymore, but still could be another cheap tech. So I'm not actually sure why he rejected this pact. Perhaps there's something particularly strong that Saru can do now, but I don't really know what. Perhaps he just took pity on me for being left out of all the pacts. So I don't know why he rejected it, but I was at least very relieved to see it. I saw this railroad on my own turn, and I actually considered taking it as well, but in the end, the things I did just seemed more important. But I thought Saru would go for it, and that was also a reason to consider taking it away. But in the end, I didn't. And yeah, as expected, Saru went for the railroad. I think it's very nice for him. He can finish it straight away, catch up in strength because he's still on just knight, so a little bit in danger perhaps. But like this, he's also set up for an early oil in case it happens, and yeah, just get some extra production along with the infinite population he already has. And then goes for a third lap and builds a warrior, interestingly. So perhaps setting up for a colony or something. Third lap I think is very nice here. I think that's a very good idea because he has infinite population, as I said. And basically and he now has some rock income, but the only thing he needs more of is science. And so this is very nice, and as we just showed, there is Gates, Sid Meier, so this sets him up nicely for those leaders. Right, so with that, let's have a look at the overview. And yeah, that warrior also makes him strongest, so that's kind of interesting too. Let's have the production. It doesn't update. So culture-wise, Lcfyx is definitely ahead. So only 10 culture before me, but he also has a bit, quite a bit of culture income. Has civil actions, lots of rock production, not the most science, but some, and food income as well. So yeah, I think he has a very strong position here. Basically, no weaknesses, and will start running away with the culture pretty soon. As for myself, I also have a nice economy, also civil actions, all the stuff covered. But I have this huge happiness crisis. I kind of need early pro sports. Also, I have Robespierre, so I really need an early replacement reader. So I'm kind of dependent on what shows up on the card row early in H3, basically. And then Saru has the ocean liner, now also has more rock income than me, thanks to the railroad. And yeah, built a bit of extra science as well. So basically also a very nice position, and with this ocean liner, that's basically 8 civil actions as well. So yeah, infinite population. He has still 4 available here and still has some food even. So yeah, think all 3 civilizations look quite nice. Mine except for the writing workers in the streets, but other than that, I have a beautiful town as well. It's just that the people don't like it. But some nice things going on. And let's see if something nice on the road shows up for me, because that's kind of necessary at this point. And hello there, professional sports. Now I'm hoping Lcfyx won't take the 3rd arena technology, but for 3 civil actions, I think having already gone for team sports now, it would be very extreme, but it would be so good for me that I'm still a bit scared that he will take it away. He has to catch up a bit in strength, so he builds 2 cannons and copies my fortifications tactic, takes the rich land and the reserves, so no pro sports taken, and even with the 2 cards taken it will drop to 2 civil actions for me, and that's quite a godsend. And I go for a war. So yeah, I had this war in hand for a while, but I was always in a problem with my happy faces mainly. But now I will go for a war. And the main question here was if I should go for Einstein as well, because I can do a turn where I take Einstein for 3, take the pro sports, develop them, and then I have 2 actions left, and I have to pop once and build the pro sports, and that would be my full turn, and then build 2 cannons, of course. But in the end, I don't go for the pro sports because I really want to use this wave. Otherwise, I will be strong after this. So I wasn't sure if I would get another opportunity to use the wave if I don't go for this. So it was nice to use it now, because yeah, those 6 rocks are just very valuable, especially with my opponents having more production than me. I just can't waste these rocks. I have to use them. And with that, I'm at 30 strength. I will go to Saru's board in a moment. But there was actually another benefit of not going for Einstein now. I also thought he would be perhaps available next turn still. Of course, I really want to replace Robespierre as soon as possible, but I thought my opponents might not take him anyway. So it was okay to leave him there, and as I said, I could use the wave, and another benefit was that I could now pop and build a second sports, which makes me, which probably results in another yellow token, so that was worth. Sadly, Bill Gates appears on the row, and I was not happy about that, because one other reason not to go for Einstein yet was that there are other good science leaders, and I would rather have Gates or Sid perhaps. Yeah, especially Gates, and perhaps Sid if he comes with computers or something. And Curry would be fine as well. So I thought it would be nice if I could get Bill Gates later, but unfortunately Gates goes straight to Saru, and he elects him. And yeah, I didn't show his board yet, but basically all he could do was build 2 more knights, getting another Hussars tactic going. But that puts him at 23. Yeah, he could build 1 warrior or something, but that's not enough. It's not going to make a difference, and that means I will steal 3 yellow tokens from him, which is great. That's a very nice war result, but won't really put him into a huge crisis because he has so much population. But it's still nice that I do something against him, but because especially now with his case, his civilization is looking very good, so it's necessary to put a bit of a damper on that. Gets another religion, I think. That's what he did. Yeah. but he will still have unhappiness after this turn, after my turn, because of the war, of course. So yeah, no, he didn't take the tanks for 3. That was a bit questionable, perhaps, because I think he really needs these tanks, and I will be happy to take them away from him next turn. Then Lcfyx doesn't see it, and yeah, the result of my war, of course, is also that my opponents need to catch up in strength. So Lcfyx goes for another 2 cannons, takes urban growth, and I think that's important because otherwise he could just build an opera now and really have a lot of culture production. So it's good that I put some pressure on my opponents here. I have developed territory and a raid in hand as my options for the politics phase, and I will think about this raid, of course. Yeah, Lcfyx can probably defend it, but I was looking at Saru especially here, because if we think back to the inhabited territory here that Lcfyx won, at that point, so I checked back, and Saru bid only 4, and he only had knights then, but he had James Cook. So what he bid, he had plenty of cards in hand, so there was no reason not to bid 2 hand cards. So the only thing his bid could mean was basically 1 knight and 2 random cards. And that was the last turn of H2, and it was my turn then. So I concluded that he didn't have H2 defense cards in hand. And this situation is kind of similar to one of the 4-player games where I did a very critical spy on Saru, I think. I think without that spy, he might have won that game. And here again, I realized like this time I was really sure. Like the other time, it was still a bit of a guesswork. Now, yeah, it was just clear from that bit that he doesn't have H2 cards, and since then he just drew 6 H3 cards, which are still here. So while his hand might look like perhaps one H3, one H2 defense card, I know it can be H2 defense cards. So the odds that he drew 2 defense cards, I actually got a hyper geometric calculator out and asked this question, and it says the odds were only 18.6%, if I remember. Yeah. So I was 81% certain that this raid would succeed, and it would be a huge difference because it will destroy his gate slabs, and then yeah, he'll need to rebuild them and be slowed down a lot. So I went for this raid after the war resolves, but yeah, 19% isn't nothing, so it did happen. He drew 2 cards, unfortunately. I then go for Einstein. Take the military theory. I think that part was just really clear. I will develop it as well so that I get, otherwise I would only get 2 draws after going for the raid. So now I have full draws again. And then I will definitely take the tanks. Unfortunately, the second copy showed up. I still make it so that Saru will have to pay an extra action for it. Because yeah, of course, I know that Saru is my main contender at this point. So, and also Lcfyx is looking quite far ahead. So I was mainly looking at how can I beat Saru in this game. But yeah, this Gates isn't helping, unfortunately. So I went for, still took the tanks, could still be useful for myself. But it also makes it so, and I just generally need to take some text for Einstein anyway. I can develop this. I could take the modern infantry, but I think there are some colonies in there, so I think the warriors, yeah, upgrading them might not happen. But yeah, it could still be. I think if I wasn't focused on Saru mainly, if there wasn't like the fact that he really needs tanks and has to pay an extra action at least this way, then I would perhaps have taken the modern infantry, but it's pretty close anyway, so I just took away the tanks. Yeah, just make him pay one extra action, because there are also this Manhattan project, which is interesting for him at Gates. There could also be computers dropping down, and that would also take a lot of his actions. So making him spend an extra action could just be quite relevant. And I have both copies of reserves in it. I draw a war actually, and the impact of population, which, yeah, Saru had basically infinite population, but there is the second copy of Pro Sports here. If he doesn't get that, he may not have a way to make his population happy actually. But even then, he probably just, yeah, even then it will be close whether that impact is good for me or not. So not a great impact, but I have a war, so that's an option now. And yeah, Saru takes the tanks, develops them. Unfortunately, also the computers became available for 2 civil actions, so he will get those. I was hoping that my play would, forcing him an extra civil action, might make it harder for him to get into computers already, if they were on 3, for example. But sadly, he gets them for 2. At least he can't take this Pro Sports here. Let's see, but maybe it will still be available next turn, and he can't go for Manhattan either because of the computers first, but yeah. So now, yeah, Gates is producing a lot. At least he's still a bit behind on culture. With Einstein, I'm scoring a little bit of culture at least. So, but yeah, of course, Gates scores points at the end of the game as well. So I think it's not looking that great. Lcfyx take air forces for 3. Yeah, first copy of air forces, and straight away goes for 1. So I think I have an H2 strength event somewhere. Yeah. So I know that this event is the vast territory actually, but it's kind of looking like everybody's playing around strength at this point, or not not seeding at least, while my opponents were the weakest. But yeah, I know it's fast territory, so it's actually not a scary event. Lcfyx actually takes the Pro Sports for 1, so that's nice, I think, for me, that he takes this away from Saru. And of course, he could go for it himself. There is Pierre in the game, there is internet, so he even has efficient upgrade. So it could definitely be helping him build a bigger internet at the end of the game. Because Manhattan and Hollywood, yeah, Manhattan is falling off now, and Hollywood, Lcfyx is the only one who had a bit of a setup for it. Me and Saru cannot go for it. So there's only the internet left now, and it might be pretty crucial because I'm also well set up for it. Saru could also have a very nice internet with the gates, rocks, building up some more stuff. So yeah, the internet will be important, I suppose. I see the territory here. Yeah, the vast comes out as I knew, but I don't bid much for it, and Lcfyx will win it for the Air Force actually, so not that cheap. I bid 4, that's 2 warriors and a card. I needed this 1 population, I think, like at some point for certain things, I don't quite remember. Maybe I also just don't want to hurt my impact of population too much. Then I'll go for the Air Forces. A second copy was available, so that's important. And for the multimedia. Oh yeah, right, I remember now. This was actually a pretty pivotal politics phase actually, because Air Forces was available, but I couldn't go for it. Uh, Apparently not. So I remember I was considering war at least against Saru, because at this point all he can do is build 2 tanks, which is 15 strength, so that puts him at 46. Um, in my mind I could go for air forces, but apparently not. So if I build just 2 cannons, for example, then I go to 49. Yeah, so I can win a war, and maybe I even could build a third pro-sport. Yeah, I think I could, but then I have to destroy something, and I can't destroy these warriors because I need all my military actions. But I would, so I could go for a barely win war against Saru, and with Saru being my main competitor, and with the gates will only improve his position over time, I suppose. So I seriously considered going for the war. But there was also this multimedia, and it was also very nice for me to go for this multimedia. So in the end, I decided to do that. So I take the air forces and the multimedia, destroy the warrior, and that's perhaps why I only bid 4, because I was going to go for this turn, even if I won the fast, and therefore I needed to destroy 1 warrior because I don't have the civil action to pop. Yeah, that's it. So because I have to pay 3 for the multimedia and for the air forces, I think I just have to do these things. And also I considered that another reason not to go for the war was that I would still have some pressure on Saru probably, thanks to having the air forces now, because next turn I can go for them, so now I'm threatening 2 air forces. But yeah, the gates rocks of course keep getting more, so maybe I won't be able to go for war next turn. So this was kind of a difficult point to decide about, but in the end I went for the multimedia line. And then hoping to draw good impacts, but I don't. I do draw mechanized army, so that's very interesting. In 2 turns perhaps I can go for both tanks and air forces and have a lot of strength. Don't think the second war will be useful, and there's also an armed intervention. But I was kind of hoping for a good impact, and wasn't too happy about not having one. International agreement comes out now. I think I was actually hoping for an event that I seeded. Yes, the popularization of science, right, that's it. Because I win the international agreement, but I wasn't too thrilled about it. As I said, I'm still mainly worrying about Saru, and popularization of science is one of these 3 events. If he revealed it now, I would score 4 more points than him, but probably he will do some more computer upgrades, and then it will be better for him actually. And the international agreements at least could be used now, since I don't have anything to seed anyway. If I can't go for war, then I could consider this. Yeah, I consider using it. And with the military build-up now going to Saru, I probably won't have war option. And then he upgrades computers, has a 15 science production, will score that amount with the popularization of science, goes for civil service and takes the fundamentalism in hand, and that also makes him quite safe. Then goes for a tank upgrade. And I was also thinking about this fundamentalism on my turn, both because of the, but yeah, I had to take this air force and this multimedia basically. But if I went for a turn without multimedia, perhaps with war, then this fundamentalism was also a consideration. But yeah, with the war, I also would have not drawn any cards, so it will only be a small war, and I thought it was just not enough to really beat Saru. And without drawing any more cards, I didn't really see how I was going to continue after that. But yeah, with him now having military buildup and fundamentalism, I think the war option is gone. popularization of science comes out now. It's at least good for both of us against Lcfyx. And the internet showed up, and I was kind of hoping Lcfyx wouldn't take it, but also pretty sure that he would. So yeah, he takes the internet. It's the only one available. Then pops, uses a patriotism to build one air force. Pops again and builds another air force. No. Alright. Then he won't have the rocks for the internet, so he can't do that. In case the age ends, which is possible because it would be possible regardless, but with this international agreement, it's more possible, I suppose. So now he is at least guaranteed to be able to finish the internet. So I don't have anything to seed. I have this impact of population, which is fine probably because of saru not having the pro sports. But yeah, it's not great anyway. And I had to think a lot about this turn. As you see, I took reserves for 1, democracy and endowment for 2 each. And there was a lot to consider here. First of all, so I couldn't go for a war this turn. I don't have enough with just war and 2 air forces, it's not enough. But there is the possibility of war next turn. I can go for tanks and air forces, build 2 armies and 2 air forces. And yeah, that's quite a bit of strength, basically plus 20 for the units, and this goes from 10 to 40, so plus 50, so puts me at 87. So that gives me the option of a war next turn. There are 2 ways to do this. I could go for 2 tanks now and reveal the tactic, which will give me only 2 draws. But then I use 3 actions now, and I can go for the war and build the 2 air forces on the war turn. Which has the downside of revealing the tactic already, which is relevant because Lcfyx is the likely target. He has the cavalryman, so he could then copy the tactic to defend against the war. The cleaner way would be not revealing the tactic yet, and then I would go for the air forces first, build 2 air forces, not reveal the tactic, and next turn build 2 tanks and reveal the tactic, but that requires an extra military action to declare the war. So for that plan, I would need to have the democracy developed as well. And that would be 38 science, I have 26, and there are 2 rev IDs on the board, so that makes 38. So that's possible, but it basically required all my agreement actions and real actions for this and next turn, because I also need to play all these reserves, do all those developments. And yeah, that's not what I went for, because I spent some on this endowment. The problem with that line was it would leave after my turn 5 cards on the row, so saru could easily anti-age. And it would leave the movies and the endowment on the row, which would give him a clear plan for how to increase his culture. He still has even all these unhappy workers, so movies would be great for him. He could just go for 2 movies and make sure to anti-age. And my lead was not big enough, and I think the war also would not be big enough. At least maybe if Lcfyx doesn't have any tactic, it could be, but it was very unsure. And yeah, just giving saru these movies would just make it likely that saru won the game, actually. Oh yeah, and if he ends the age, of course, that's the real killer, then I obviously can't go for the war at all. And just him ending the age and building 2 movies would just be enough in that case for him to overtake me, I think. So the clean war with not revealing the tactic was not possible, or it was possible, but it would be blocked by saru ending the age, basically. So I had to go for something else, and I will basically set up for the less clean war, basically going for the tanks this turn. So I have the option of war in case the age doesn't end again, but we'll get to that in a bit. So let's just see the turn now first. I will pop and play reserves so that I can go for 2 tanks and reveal the mechanized army. So now I have a bit more strength. And yeah, one thing I absolutely had to do was take away these movies basically, because it's just too strong for Saru. And yeah, I was looking at what his options were. And yeah, as I said, if he gets these movies, then he has a very nice peaceful option, can just build 2 now, probably build 2 next turn or something. So I was going to take that away. But there's also a military option for him in case he has a war, of course. But and I was yeah, when I knew I was going to take away the movies, perhaps that's the next thing I do. Perhaps no, not. I take the Rev ID as well. I also considered if I could just go for a very greedy line, just build more culture, maybe build a movie or something, instead of going for these tanks. But then I looked at Saru, and actually he has a lot of potential. It maybe looks a bit deceptive because of not having air forces and just hussars as a tactic. But I thought one thing he could do is go for something really extreme. Make sure the age doesn't end now, and then go for a war on the last turn and just set up already a bit for it on this turn. Use the build up, develop the fundamentalism, build some units. And then, yeah, he has 3 available pop now, so he could just build 3 tanks, for example, and maybe upgrade this one. And if you look at his rocks, he has 36 in 1 turn, so but this is 46. That could just be 9 tanks. And he has 7 military actions after he goes for fundamentalism, so he could build maybe 4 now, maybe 4 next turn. I didn't do the exact calculations for how much strength he could have, but say he has 8 more tanks, that would be 40, plus 4 times the tactic is 60, 66, so he would definitely get over 100 strength if he went for a war next turn. Of course, he needs all the population for 8 extra tanks, but he has those lying around actually. He has 6 available, can destroy a couple of things. And yeah, of course, he would have a uprising on that last war turn, but he would have a 100 plus strength war, which I think would score a lot of points against Lcfyx. I think I can go to 87 on this turn, so probably I could defend it, but I'm not even sure. I didn't completely calculate it because I don't really have that many rocks, so maybe even I could be the target of that war. So that basically made certain that I couldn't go for anything greedy. I had to go for a line that set up a war for myself, perhaps, but also provided a defense in case Saru goes for a crazy war on the last turn. So yeah, that kind of defined everything about this turn for me. And then I was a little bit surprised even that Saru goes for the war now, develops the military theory, goes for fundamentalism, gets a pop, and tanks, more tanks, and then destroys a mine to not have an uprising, and takes the urban growth, take the satellites, and this will end the age, and also an efficient upgrade. So I was a bit surprised by this. As I said, he could go over 100 strength on the last turn with an uprising, admittedly, but I thought that would be worth it actually. He doesn't have much culture production anyway. There's no wonder he needs to finish. There isn't anything on the board that lets him build culture. There is one more multimedia in the deck, but that's not that great for him. It's kind of inefficient. Doesn't give him happy faces, so it's not as good as the movies would have been. But as I said, he could have gone for a very big war if he dragged the game out one more turn. Now he goes for a war with 70 strength, which is also still enough to beat Lcfyx. And of course, this way he makes sure that I can't go for a war by ending the age. But yeah, would have been really interesting to see what a full unhappiness war would have done. But we will never know. Lcfyx wins the national pride and now goes for pro sports, takes Pierre. And yeah, he basically can build 2 more cannons, 1 air force and 1 pro sports. So that's what he will go for. He's actually short 1 action somehow, I don't know where it goes. To also use this efficient upgrade and get an additional 2 strength. But I guess he preferred having Pierre for 4 culture rather than defend the war for 2, which is also 4 culture against Saru, but only 2 against me. And also he seeded this turn, so there's now 1 impact by him and 1 by Saru. So there's also the chance that he seeded impact of culture, because he doesn't have that many good impacts, but he would win impact of culture. Then on my turn, I now remember what I seeded a while ago when I didn't see it. It was the refugees. And yeah, this is now my final turn. I only have 1 impact, the population. Only 1 I drew. And at the moment it's +6 for me against Saru. Because he has lots of people, but they are not happy. He could build 2 religions on the last turn, but then it would still be +2. And yeah, by at the moment I mean after my turn when I pop twice. So this impact basically with the seeding gives me +5 against Saru. But if I hit the refugees, I lose a population, which isn't relevant by itself because I can just disband the warrior, but which gives me -2 on the impact. So then it's only the 3 points for seeding. And of course I lose 3 points and Saru gains 3 points, so it would be -3. But there are 3 cards here, so there's 1 chance in 3 that I score -3 by seeding this, and 2 in 3 that I gain 5 by seeding this. And maybe I should also consider exactly how this will end, and which impacts to really get a full statistical analysis of this, but it was just a bit too difficult. I think not knowing any of the impacts, I think there are just too many options, and I already know it's going to be super close between all 3, and yeah, I don't think I can really figure out which impacts are there or what happens in every case. And so I just seeded it because it's the better odds, just point-wise, not really knowing what the chances are of the +5 or the -3 making the difference. And the refugees come out, so yeah, that's unfortunate. I go for the endowments, develop the movies and the air forces, scoring 6 points with Einstein. And yeah, I have to build an air force, otherwise I'm in danger of an aggression. This even makes me the strongest. And then I just have enough, I can play 1 reserves and build a religion, and that's my turn. Alright, now we see the war outcome, and yeah, we will see that things get very close. Saru gets an impact in, and yeah, that's it's funny that I okay, never mind. There are now 2 Saru impacts and 1 of Lcfyx, and my impact of population. And the civil unrest comes out, and yeah, the reason I was laughing was I didn't even notice when this happened. So I just now see that Saru actually lost 16 culture to the civil unrest. So I was a bit unfortunate when the refugees came out, but very fortunate now that Lcfyx seeded civil unrest, and Saru gets hit by it now and loses 16 culture. So I think whatever impact he played wouldn't have been worth 16 culture. And now he gets hit very hard by this. He also had to build 2 farms to not get hit by consumption point loss, and then has to destroy some more things just to have happiness. And yeah, I was so this was the impact I knew. So everything else was unknown to me. So it was very close, I think. The impact of population I knew about. So with 16 points from the civil unrest that I didn't know about at this time, Saru would have been at 89 plus a Gates bonus of 9. So that puts him at 98 with 2 Saru impacts and 1 Lcfyx impact. So I thought it wasn't looking very good. But then the civil unrest hit, which I actually didn't notice, as I said. I just looked at the final impacts. And yeah, so now everything is possible again. Well, I think everything was possible before as well. But there are still 2 Saru impacts and 1 Lcfyx impact, so let's see what happens. Variety, that's actually nice for me against Lcfyx and against Saru as well, so actually a very good impact for me. So I assume Lcfyx seeded that, perhaps? Not sure. Saru also had to destroy some variety, like the warrior at the end. Or at least he did. I think if he knew about this, maybe he would have destroyed a tank, unless maybe strength is in. Strength is in, okay. So that's definitely seeded by Saru, and he wins that impact. But I'm second, and I'm now still quite a bit ahead. And then the last one is government, which is good for Saru, but not enough to overtake me. And then there's the Gates bonus. So 16 culture from the civil unrest would have put Saru at 151. So it was actually still super close, even without the civil unrest hitting. But of course, yeah, he had the I remember I was really hoping for impact of happiness to be seeded by Lcfyx. I didn't draw it, but I was hoping Lcfyx perhaps did. But I guess the civil unrest had kind of the same effect. So this was something that was possible. I was generally also really good at most impacts, I think. So I still had hope before the final conclusion. But as I said, the civil unrest kind of went by when I just looked at the impacts. And yeah, I just saw that I had won the game, and I was very happy about it. And also, it was kind of unexpected at this point, so I wasn't sure I was going to win it. But yeah, I did. And with that, let's also have a look at the standings after this game. And also the game, as I said, between the other 3 was finished. And the winner of that game was Wanderlust. And Saru was last in the game between these 3. Lcfyx scoring 2 points here. And that means after the 4-player and 3-player games are concluded, suddenly things are looking very good for me. I'm 7 points ahead of Wanderlust, who is now in second position. It's no longer Saru, the main contender. Saru can still win the group, but he needs to win all 3 2-player games, and I need to lose all 3 for that to happen. And meanwhile, against Wanderlust, I have a 7-point bonus, so basically 2 2-player games. So yeah, Wanderlust will, for overtaking me, he will definitely need to win the game between us, or duel, and then also score one more win in the 2 other games than I have. And yeah, Wanderlust and myself are the fast players in this group. So the next game will for sure be the duel of me against Wanderlust. If I win that, I win the group. If not, everything is still possible. So yeah, exciting. I can say the game is already in H3 right now. If it finishes today, maybe tonight, I will have some time to make the recording. If not, the rest of my week I don't have time. I will be away for some days as well. So it will probably be next week only if that I can record it. We'll see if I can finish the game today even. All right, see you next time.